let's do a little bit of a review on what Christian Wood brings to the table, because I think people forget like how good he is, like how talented he is. So going back to last season, he averaged 16 and 7. So those were his baselines for points and rebounds. 51% from the field, 37.6 from three. Not too shabby for a guy that's about 6'10, plays the four, plays a little bit of the five, definitely a stretch big. But if we flash back 2 seasons, so where he was in a Houston uniform, he spent 2 seasons with Houston. This man was putting up 21 and almost 10 boards a game for the Houston Rockets. I know what everybody's going to say. Losing team, it's big numbers on a bad team, this, that, and the other. Okay, sure. We can chalk up a little bit of that production to just, he's getting a lot of touches. It's the team is not going anywhere. Sure. But at the end of the day, even with Dallas, and they didn't make the play-in, they had a pretty rough season there. But even in Dallas, playing with Luka Doncic, playing with Kyrie a little bit, that's a pretty solid team. And I wouldn't say Dallas is a losing team necessarily, or they're not going anywhere. 67 games with them. He started 17, 25, 26 minutes a game. And he's super versatile, man. Like, that's the thing about him offensively. Even get yourself a big man that can take bigs off the dribble. He's hitting step back threes for you at 6'10", 6'11". That doesn't grow on trees. So for me, I was just a little bit surprised that he was still on the market. And, as far as what he signed for, it was a vet minimum deal, $2.7 million this coming season. And next season, $3 million player option. So he has the ability to come back to the Lakers next season if he wants to. But he could outplay this contract. He can be a free agent again next year. It's all up to him, man. So those are my kind of initial thoughts on Christian. I think the Lakers got a steal. I love the deal. I love the gamble. And with AD in street clothes half the time, I don't think it hurts to have a little bit more depth in the front line, man. But give me your thoughts. How are you feeling about the Christian Wood signing? What are your initial opinions about it?
Let me ask one question. Just to confirm, he was originally in the G League, correct?
Yes, he spent some time
So,
in the G League, and then he bounced around a little bit. So I think it's his
right,
fourth or fifth team now.
right. So whenever I see someone coming up from the G League, to me, there's a couple ways to look at the game of basketball. You can look at things visually, of course, with your eyes. What do your eyes tell you? And then there's the stats, right? The analytics that a lot of people love. And there's room for both. I think when there's people who are really pro analytics, they sometimes overthink things, in my opinion. And sometimes when you just look at the game of basketball, it's not that hard to understand sometimes. Like if I can
Mhm.
show the game of basketball to my grandma, right? And she loves basketball, but she doesn't know what she's watching. And she sees Zion Williamson. I remember her saying, that guy just looks different. I'm like, because he is different. But like if you
Very
sometimes
different.
overthink things like, oh, but analytically, I don't know if he no, the guy's different. And so that's the two ways I look at the game. And so from your perspective and your point, when you look at the stat sheet, he provides a lot of value. And then when you look at the eye test and the intangibles, I'm looking at a guy who had to overcome things. And whenever I see someone come from the G League, that shows me that mentally they're strong, and two, they have something to prove. And what do we know about athletes? I'm not saying he's Tom Brady by any means. I'm not saying he's Dak Prescott or Russell Wilson, but there's a common denominator that we've seen from some of the most prestigious athletes in the world is that chip on their shoulder. And so I love seeing a chip on the shoulder with someone. So when you had to scratch tooth and nail to get opportunities for yourself, I know that you're coming to play. And so by taking a vet minimum, you're understanding, wow, okay, I have something to prove. And it's a team friendly deal, obviously. And now with
Mhm.
the biggest stage, whether the Lakers are terrible or the Lakers are great, we are going to talk about the Lakers. You have the biggest brand in basketball with the biggest player brand in the world with LeBron. I think he understands that stage. And so there's just so many green flags that I see with this signing.
There's been rumors that he has a bad attitude. He's he gave people problems in the locker room and this that, and the other. Okay, maybe there's some truth to that. But we're talking about a guy that can come in and he's had some. He had a huge game against the Lakers actually on Christmas. I don't know if you remember that one, but
When I hear attitude problems, you got to think of the situation. So who's the
yeah,
leader in Houston right now? We don't know who's the leader with Dallas. I'm gonna be honest with you. The thing I've been most critical about Luka, not his talent, but like where's the leadership? Like I want to see some leadership from Luka, and then obviously Kyrie has his drama. You're
oh
going
yeah,
into a locker room. We know who the leader is. It is LeBron James. So when you have a guy with an attitude, I think, or like like you said, the reports, because we don't really know that. You have to think about the situation. So with the
Sure.
situation like LeBron, I'm not really worried about that.
That's a good point. It really comes down to like that we just know this. Like some players are built for certain systems and certain coaching styles. Some players don't respond well to coaches that are very harsh on their players. Like sometimes you just need a change of scenery, and that doesn't necessarily mean a different system on the court, but maybe it's just the teammates that are next to you, the coaches that are
Right,
with you
right.
every day. So that's another component of it that could change, turn things around for Christian Wood. Everywhere he's been before this, not great situation. Detroit, not a great situation, obviously. Being with the Rockets, a very suboptimal situation. I mean, they were just moving off from James Harden. That's just chaos, like in a nutshell, right there. The Mavericks were honestly in a chaotic spot last season. Like they really just kind of hit a wall once Kyrie came on board. So they started losing. Wood's minutes got cut. And I'm sure he was just kind of like frustrated by his role because, you put up these numbers and you have a pretty good impact on a team. And then all of a sudden you see a minutes trail off. I'm sure he wasn't happy about that.
Right.
So just want to point that out as well.